Hello everybody, I'm going to be using the supportive interviewing methods as well as the motivational interviewing methods and asking the miracle question today. Today I have Emmanuel with me. How are you, Emmanuel?
I'm doing okay. Today was okay. I just a lot of time, most days, I struggle with my anxiety, my depression, um, just making it through day to day, worrying about things like money, not having a job, how I'm gonna provide for my children. Makes things difficult to get through each day, but I try to take each day as it comes, and today was an okay day.
Okay, and what specifically are you depressed about?
Being overweight, not having a job, not having money, not being able to provide the lifestyle for my family that I feel that they deserve. Um, Death in the family, loss. Uh,
Have you experienced a lot of loss?
I have a lot of things that have happened that are beyond my control. A lot of death in my family, losing my parents, my grandparents, my niece.
Okay, so imagine if you woke up one morning and this amazing miracle happened and everything in your life was the way you wanted it to be. What would that look like for you?
That's really hard to think about, but what that would look like for me is a refrigerator full of food, financial freedom to be able to do things with my children and my family, whatever we wanted to do, a good credit score, maybe a career, something that I would love and passionate about that I would enjoy doing for the remainder of my years. Um, just having the freedom to spend time with my family and do the things I want to do, having a space and a home big enough for all of us to live comfortably in. Um, just to not have those day-to-day worries of where food's going to come from or how we're going
So
to be able to make it.
So it sounds like maybe your basic needs aren't being met right now.
Yeah, with me being out of work, it's uh, it's been difficult than it has in the past to um, have food, uh, have adequate shelter, you know, uh, be able to have freedom with my family.
So your depression and anxiety existed before you lost your job?
Yeah, I struggled with mental illness and depression most of my life. When my parents divorced, when I was 8 years old, that's when I first started having mental and emotional problems. But I think my family just recognized it as things we were going through, and they never really got me the help that I needed, and it just further progressed into anger, rage when I was in high school, and then when it followed me into adulthood, not having coping skills and just not really knowing how to deal with life when things happened.
I think the one thing that you have to think about is that the first step to getting better is recognizing that you have these illnesses and trying to do something about it. So I think it's great that you're really trying to talk about it and do something about it. Do you have any goals for yourself right now?
Yeah, I have a current legal battle that I'm going through. I have some pending felonies. When my court thing's all wrapped up, I would like to eventually see a day where I could be off this medicine and be able to function independently on my own without the help of medication and to have a healthy mind.
So I think it's really important to think about the fact that at one point in time you were a productive member of society and that you were able to do things that you wanted to do and that you were able to have a fridge full of food, and realize that those things are still a possibility for you as soon as you get over this illness. And also to realize that, what is your diagnosis exactly?
Yeah, I was diagnosed bipolar 1 with there's some PTSD in there also, but bipolar 1 is the main thing that I struggle with.
And so do you still go through mania or?
No, 2 years ago I was diagnosed, and since I've been on medication, I don't have any more mania or any like psychotic symptoms. I don't hear voices. I don't hallucinate or see things that aren't there. But I'm still pretty depressed most of the time. My mood could change at like the drop of a hat. So I struggle with things like that.
I think it's also important to remember that there are a lot of people with bipolar who are successful. And so a lot of times we take those diagnoses and make them our identity when we are a completely separate person outside of our diagnoses that we might have. So even though you have bipolar or you're depressed or you're anxious or you have those things that stem from a really young childhood, you can still do things as a functioning adult while having those diagnoses under your belt. You can, as long as you can manage them, you can still be productive. So I want you to think about 2 things that you can do each day for yourself. And what do you think those 2 things might be? That would make you happy, that would get your mind out of this anxious cycle. What are 2 things that you might do for yourself, not for anybody else, so that you can focus on your happiness and well-being?
I think self-care and just making time for myself is something that's really important. With the bipolar, there are a lot of times I get out of bed and I don't really feel like doing anything.
Yeah.
But self-care is an important thing. Like making sure I shower, making sure I put food in my body, making sure I take myself to get out of the house, to go on a walk, or even just to sit outside and get air. Those things could benefit me in the long run. And I don't do enough of it, but I know I need to do more of it, type of thing.
And what's one more thing, like a hobby, that you might be able to do? Is there something that you like that you used to do that you might want to get back into?
I like playing guitar, but right now a lot of my equipment's in pawn because I've had to pawn my things to be able to feed my family. And I don't think I'll be getting a lot of my stuff back anytime soon, but music is something that I have enjoyed for most of my life and it's gotten me through a lot of dark times.
Have you ever thought about writing?
English was one of my favorite subjects in high school, but as I've become an older, it's something I've like kind of drawn away from. I don't really write or keep a journal or anything like that, but in therapy they mention something that could be helpful. So that's something I've been thinking about probably starting up again.
I think that'd be a good idea, especially since you talked about being musically talented. People that have, an art like that tend to be really good writers. So that might help you get your thoughts down, even if nobody else reads it. Maybe just be a good way to vent to yourself and just get it out of your mind for that time being. Well, Emmanuel, it was really good talking to you today, and we will be talking soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you for talking with me.